TD Sports. TD Sports. Let's go, champ. What's good? What's good? What's good, everybody? Hope everybody is doing well today. Here on a Sunday afternoon. It's about 3:07, 3:08 on the PM. And we're going to start a new little series that we're doing here on the Sports Talk Network, here at TD Sports Talk channel, where we're going to have a conversation with a professional, whether it's a professional fighter, whether it's a trainer, whether it's a professional content creator, whatever it is, it's going to be a professional, and we're going to talk boxing. So our first guest is a guy that's been on here numerous times, and a guy I've been to his fights numerous times as well. Prospect of the year, 5-0, 5 KOs. My man from Newark, New Jersey, Keith, the Tsunami Cologne. What's good, Keith? How's everything, bro?
What's going on, my guy? Everything good?
All right. D-Free, you good? You good? I didn't say what's up to you.
I'm good.
All right. D-Free, the most busiest man on YouTube. I swear to God. You see D-Free all over. Go to another channel. He's in the commercials too. I swear to God, I've seen D-Free, the most busiest man on YouTube, bro. Salute to everybody in the chat. Hope everybody is doing well. I'll get to it. But, we're going to start off first. One of the things I wanted to ask you first, Keith, before we get into your career, because we've asked you this many times, but I don't think we've asked you where Tsunami comes from. So your Keith Tsunami Cologne, where's that nickname come from?
It came from really just like a childhood nickname that kind of, childhood nickname that started up when I was about 7, like around that age, when I was a younger child. And when I started boxing, my dad, he was big on, me having a nickname, but I was like, I ain't really care for it, And then, as I started to get older, it just kind of like stuck with me. That was one of the ones that stuck with me. I feel like it was authentic, and it wasn't nothing like like far-fetched. Like it's not anything that I made up that I wanted the people to call me. It was something that, it was already, a nickname for me.
Okay, cool. So 5-0, five knockouts. I think I've been to 3 of them. What are the future plans? Are you looking for something within the month? Or you got something pending?
Yeah, it talks about fights in June, early June, like the first couple weeks of June. As of right now, nothing been really solidified, so I don't want to put too much out there. But early June, of course, I'm in the gym training. If they do happen to, work their way, and if everything goes right.
Okay. Yeah, I know with New York, we've got 2 cards. Well, 3, but one is a female card. But 2 cards coming up, one in June, one in July. I know June 14th, we got Richardson Hitchens taking on George Kambosos, right, in MSG in the theater. And then July 12th, I believe it is, on a Saturday, you got your boy, from Newark, Shakur Stevenson is going to be fighting Cepeda, and then Berlanga is going to be in the card. Rumor has it that it's going to be in Central Park. Have you heard anything about it?
Nah, I don't know nothing about that.
Okay, that's the rumor. Yeah, the rumor is that they're going to do it in Central Park. So that would be pretty cool. So that'd be cool if you could be on one of those, if not both of those cards.
Yeah, God willing, things will fall in my favor,
Yeah.
Either way, you're gonna see me soon for sure.
Absolutely. Hopefully, because hopefully it's in the East Coast where I can go to, because I'm selfish. You know what I'm saying? So I don't want it in the West Coast where I can't go. I want to be there. You feel me? So
right.
D-Free, real quick, you got anything before we continue?
Yeah. I was gonna ask you, after your fight that you had out here in Maryland, there was rumor talk that the commissioner didn't sanction that fight. Was there any truth behind that?
Wait, nah, the fight that I had in Maryland, everything was good. The commissioner.
Okay. Yeah, because it was some people saying it on YouTube that the fight didn't count against your record because the commissioner didn't sign off on it. And I was like, I didn't hear anything about it. I said, next time I talk to him, I ask him about it because I didn't hear anything about it. But that was a rumor that was going around.
If a commissioner don't sign, even if it's not me, if a commissioner don't sign on anything, then you feel me, that'll be a big liability for the the promotional team, they and they coming up, they don't want nothing bad on their name, so that's cap.
Okay.
You see, BVO, he got a question for you. Yo, that's what we gotta get him, bro. I'm telling you, man. We're gonna get him out here, man. You gotta get him like 2 body shots for real.
Yeah.
Yo, I'm gonna just talk about the cards this weekend. Did you pay attention to the card Friday night in Times Square?
Yeah, I did watch him.
What did you think overall? What did you think of the card and the fights in general?
Overall, I thought it was cool. I thought it was a cool card. Kind of bringing, I feel like I look at it from a different perspective. Like especially around this time in New York, basketball is like talked about, baseball being talked about, and having boxing back and just people able to see like, dang, what's this right here in the middle of the street? Them being able to watch. I know it's mad people there. I know it's mad people talking about going. So just shining light on the sport is like always a good thing. But fights they was cool. Ain't nobody really did anything spectacular. Everybody they played it safe, I guess you could say. Everybody that won did what they had to do. And the people that didn't win, they just came up short. So, I really wish that, they would allow, like a way for people to be able to see it and make it more visible. Because that's something that you want to show the world. Like that's unheard of. You don't want to really just like close it all to a certain amount of people. Like that's something big, and that's like history. That's gonna be talked about for years, if depending on how big you allow it to be. You get what I'm saying? So, that's my viewpoint on it.
It's funny that you said that because that was my number one problem I had with it also is the fans. Like, I mean, they can see it on the screen and stuff, but the fans are part of the sport. And I believe fighters react to the fans as well. I know, I was just on the radio earlier and I was talking with Pedro on the radio and he brought up Japan, and how Japan, they're very quiet. Right, and they show respect to the fighters by not talking or saying anything throughout the fight. But I think it's different everywhere else. And at least in Japan, these guys are watching the fight. When you go to Saudi Arabia, like last night, you see guys in the front row. They're on their phones. They're talking to each other. They're not paying attention to the fight. I think it's a turnoff, in my opinion. And as far as the crowd on Friday night, it'd be nice if they could try to open it up. Like, so when I mentioned earlier about Central Park, and hopefully they do the card in Central Park, hopefully they make it where there are more fans because, fans react to that. I've been to, I believe, 3 of your fights, and you had a big turnout. I mean, you might have sold the most tickets out of anybody. Maybe not the pro debut because Shakur was on it, and he was the main event, but you brought a large fan base. Is that something like fighters feed off of?
Oh yeah, definitely. It makes everything bigger. You get what I'm trying to say? Like just you walking out, having your people scream your name. When they say like coming out of the red corner representing, and they say where you from, and then everybody from there, you can hear the people in your crowd. That right there kind of give you like extra motivation, to like keep it going.
Yeah.
But the fans play a big factor in this. Just it's different when like being in the gym and being under the lights. It's 2 different things, and it's due to the fans. It's not just due to actual lights. It's people there. You got your mother there, you got your family there, you got everybody that supports you, everybody that hates you. So yeah, that I'm not a big fan of. Not having a crowd there, having people, not having supporters there. It's kind of I'm not a fan of that.
Yeah, and I'm definitely not a fan of it either. Especially and then the fans that were there, they're not really, some of them were fighters, but some of the people, they're just there just because of the experience. The atmosphere is just not the same as when you got 10,000, 50,000.
They had like a Spider-Man in the back,
Yeah,
That's crazy.
It looked cool. It looked cool on TV, like I guess kind of like a video game atmosphere. So as far as that aspect, it looked cool, like to see that and then see all the lights and the videos and stuff up top while the fight's going on. I think that was cool. But as far as like the sport and as far as the fights, in the ring, the fans were missing, and then the performances, in my opinion, were a little bit subpar. What did you think of? Let's go one by one. Teofimo and Barboza. What you thought of that fight?
I feel like that was a cool fight. Barboza, he tried to make the most out of his opportunity. He tried to do his best, but I guess Tio was just too athletic for him. He was too quick for him. His feet was too quick, hands was too quick. He did what he had to do. It was a cool fight. I rated excitement wise. I rated about B-.
B minus. Yeah, B minus. Okay. Feel free to interject anytime you want as we discuss these fights.
No, I was going to ask him the same question about the individual fights. How he see each fight, in particular, how they played out. What was his take on the fights?
Yeah, definitely. That's why we're doing this, because I want to get a professional, point of view on what happened. So I agree with what you said. A B minus, I believe, is fair, because I believe Tio could have done more, and I think Tio got caught with a good shot in the 6th round, a good right hand, and he got touched up a little bit because his face was marked up. So I believe there was no sense of urgency from Barboza. He had to believe that he had to be down the cards, and he didn't really show that sense of urgency to try to make a fight of it, So
yeah. Do you think Tio is a little hesitant to sit down on his shots since he's been at 140? Because we haven't seen the power from Tio at 140, and I think he's too much on his toes. That when he was at 35, he sat down on his punches a lot more.
Yeah. The way how I look at it is, he's definitely small. He's on the small side for the 140s, and even talking about 147 is even smaller. He's on the smaller side for also 147. I feel like it's probably hard for him to hold the weight out, because that's what it sounds like. But at the same time, it's like his power isn't, going with him, throughout these weight classes. Like you see other fighters, his power isn't traveling with him. But he resorting kind of other tactics, keep his opponents on their toes, so to say. Kind of moving around the ring, and he could do that. But it's all about how you do it. You can't just certain fighters like Barboza. It'll work on, but as you work your way up and you talk about the Boots and Terrence Crawford, those fighters is not going to work on them. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like as he up the level, up the competition, he gonna have to really start tuning into the boxing. And if that's how he want to fight, moving because he's a small opponent, cool, that's okay. But just understand that his performance got him over that day, but it might not get him over tomorrow. You know what I'm saying? So that's my take.
Yeah, I agree. And he fought a guy that was kind of, for him, like he was built like Barboza's kind of come forward, but when he fights movers, when he fought guys like Sandor Martin, Jermaine Ortiz, he kind of got, in my opinion, he got outboxed in both those fights, so he's gonna struggle with guys that have good footwork, and he still hasn't learned how to cut off the ring against guys like that. So when he does fight a guy like Boots, or let's say he fights a Devin Haney, he's gonna struggle, in my opinion.
Yeah, I feel like he, another thing about Tio, he a good fighter. He just try to do too much. He try to do too much, and boxing is real simple. As you see the best fight the best, you don't ever see them try to do too much. They win by the little things, counter jabbing, or countering a lazy jab. This person didn't bring their hands back up after the combination. Little things like that. You don't see him jumping around you know what I'm saying? He just try to do too much sometimes to entertain or show his bag. That's what I feel like.
Yeah, I agree with that. He does do that a little bit too much. But as he steps up in competition, he wants the big names. That I give him credit for. I mean, he's a knucklehead outside the ring. He says stupid things, and and he does the worst, and sometimes he does the most. But inside the ring, I think he's a top fighter. I don't know about top 10 pound for pound fighter, but he's definitely up there. He's a valid champion, 140. He's probably the best right now at 140 until somebody proves otherwise. in my opinion. But when he steps up competition, I mean, he's, in my opinion, he got those two gifts. When he fights guys that can move and box, he's gonna struggle. So
Yeah. And I feel like
I don't think so. I don't think he's the best guy at 140.
yeah, me either.
Who I
no,
think
I'm
is
just
the best
saying
guy
right
at
now
140.
until proven otherwise. I mean, I know there are guys out there. I mean, D Free, go ahead. We know who your guy is. Why don't you just say it? Go ahead, D Free. I mean, that's why you're here. Who's your guy at 140, D Free?
Hey, I got Russell. I got Russell right now.
I know you do. So I wanted you to say that on the air for everybody to know. Yeah, Russell. I like Russell, but he got Puello problems, so he's got to fix that. So, but other than that, I think Russell's good. Hitchens is good too. Hitchens and Teofimo will be great. But right now, Hitchens has a guy. He's going to fight a guy that, in my opinion, he shouldn't really be fighting. In George Kambosos, he doesn't deserve a championship fight. How a guy gets ranked moving up in weight after a loss, it just baffles me. But he's got to take care of business there. But I think Teo struggles with both those guys. But until then, let's see what happens. So what about the next fight? Let's go Devin Haney and Ramirez. What do you thought about that fight?
I mean, winning was Devin won. He did. I would have, like, if I'm being honest, if I would have put on that type of performance, I wouldn't even have been happy with myself. My team, they wouldn't have been happy. Some people, they cool with just getting a win. But, it's like how I'm taught, the game and boxing is like, so, all right, cool. You did everything to win. You did everything you're supposed to do. Cool, granted, understood. But you let him breathe. There's opportunities for you to kill him. You ain't kill him. Like, you play with it at times. You get what I'm saying? I feel like that's definitely what Devin did. However, with his circumstances and his situation, it is a little different. He coming back from a loss. He got beat down. He's been out the ring for a year. Against somebody that that they say hits pretty hard too. So, his situation is a little different. However, I feel like he could have shown more. He could have shown more. He did look like he was adamant about hitting and getting up out of there, like not trying to get hit at all. My whole thing is I just wanted to see just a little bit more, at times. But you ain't even necessarily have to move so much, instead of like going full speed. Sometimes just walk around your opponent, don't make it seem like you get what I'm trying to say. Like
Absolutely.
He made it adamant that he was not trying to be there for anything that Ramirez was throwing. And I just feel like his performance overall, I rated. I mean, he won. He got the job done. Hey, like that's all I care about. But his performance overall, I'll give it like C+, C, just because of what he's shown in the past.
I agree with you. I agree, and I think what you said, it was well said. There was no hate behind it. It was well said from a boxer's point of view. You just said, like, when you go in the gym and how you was taught as a fighter. I thought, and BVO being silly again, but I thought a C+ is good. I would give it a B. I don't want to get too bad because I thought he looked good for a guy that's been out of the ring for a year, right? But as far as like a lot of people said he was great. A lot of people said he's very good. Let's take the very off of the word good and say good performance. That's what I said. I think it was a good performance. I don't know about very good because, as you said, I thought he left some things, in the ring. Like he had a chance to capitalize and do a little bit more work. He had a chance to finish up combos. I thought him with the uppercuts, I thought they were beautiful, the counter uppercuts he hit. I thought he buzzed Ramirez a couple of times, and I felt like he could have maybe done more in the moment. Not doesn't mean he would have dropped them or stopped them, but he had him kind of like, say, oh, wow. Even Ramirez smiled back a couple of times off of those uppercuts. I would have liked him to maybe, hit him with another 2 shots there, and like you said, maybe not walk around your opponent. You don't have to necessarily move as quick as he did with the lateral footwork. But definitely, I wouldn't give him. I wouldn't go as low as a C. I would definitely, if we we're going to give Teofimo a B-, I give Haney a B- as well. Because they both fighters, I thought left things to take. Because I thought Teofimo could have done more as well, and he didn't. So if we're going to say the same thing about Devin, I got to say the same, about Teo as well. So I thought both fighters could have done more and maybe finished their opponent a little bit more. Not necessarily knocking them out or dropping them, but just putting more damage and
Yeah, I mean, I thought Devin could have fought the same style that he fought Linares. He could have fought that similar style because Jose Ramirez is he's not a guy that's known for fast hands. He's not a guy that's known for good footwork. I think he could have fought that similar style. I think it was just a little bit too much excessive movement. And me personally, I think it might have had something to do with Shane Mosley in his corner because I never seen Devin move like that. I seen him get out of the way of the big punchers, but not to that aspect. Like it was too much movement. And so I think he could have fought a similar style that he fought. Even the way he fought against Regis Prograis, he could have fought that style. He was landing good shots on Regis Prograis, and then he got out of the way. I think he could have fought that style. I think this one, it was more so he didn't want nothing coming back at him, and he was just getting out of the way. So I agree. I got to give him a C+ for that performance because although he came out of there with the W and it was pretty much a one-sided fight, it was still lacking some offense. And so I give him a C+.
Yeah, and I think all these grades are fair, and it's not out of like hatred or whatever. And I think the reason why we're harsh on some of these fighters because we're fans. We're not taking the punches or throwing them. Maybe Keith is, but us, me and you, D-Free, we're not doing it. And what I'm saying is that from a fan's point of view, as we're fans, I just feel that Dev could have done better because I know he's better than what he performed, if that makes sense. I'm not trying to say like he doesn't have the ability to do it, or he should have tried to do something. No, I believe he has the ability that he could have put his combos a little bit more and just, maybe, added a couple more punches when he hurt Ramirez a couple of times, and like Keith said, maybe instead of moving laterally as much as he did, maybe walk around his opponent. So, and that's why we got Keith on. We got a professional on so we can, we can get the point of view of a fighter. BVO is on real quick. BVO, before you start talking, because BVO, it said, look what BVO wrote, Keith. He said, I almost started throwing tomatoes. And then he says Tio looked like Mayweather. So with that comment, BVO, how did Tio look like Mayweather? Seriously.
Hey, man. Salute to my brother Keith, man. One of my favorite Puerto Ricans.
No.
How you doing, man? Well, I'll say this, man. I felt like what Tio did, he actually tried to put a show on. I don't support him or anything like that, but if you're going to hit and not get hit, that's how you do it. I put like this. I definitely thought Devin did a good audition for the USA cross country team because, I mean, he was on the move, man. When you seen that, what did you think about that, Keith, when you seen him moving like that?
Initially, I thought that, he was using the movement to kind of, slow down Ramirez. I thought he was using the movement, like, kind of like how Mayweather would do. He like won't be there. It kind of like discourage the opponent. Where they start getting slow feet and they don't react the same way. And now that's when you start capitalizing. That's what I thought he was going to do. But by like 6th round, 7th round, 8th round, I saw that he was just playing it safe. So I mean, it's hard. It's hard because when you got some like it all depends on what was the game plan. Because you don't want to knock a fighter for listening to his coach.
That's true.
Because if he listened to his coach and that was the game plan, that's A+. Like you get what I'm saying?
And that's why I highlighted Gano Loco TV's comment. He says he followed the game plan though, so I was satisfied. Yeah. And that's well. It's just that what fans. Some fans were picky. I'm picky sometimes, but it's not out of hatred. I love all fighters. I support all fighters except guys named Tio and Ryan. I have my reasons, but it's just that when
that's not true. You don't support Emiliano Vargas. That's not true.
We're not going to talk about him today. But when you feel like a fighter can do more and is better than what he did, then sometimes criticism is okay. That's just me. So I'm going to move on to the next fight because I don't want to keep you too long, Keith. I know you got things to do. The third fight, Rolly Romero and Ryan Garcia. What do you thought about that fight?
I felt like, to be honest, like now looking back, I felt like that was a good chess match. They not known for being chess match types of fighters. That's why I feel like people felt disappointed. But if we being honest, that was a good chess match. One thing for sure, Ryan got a deadly left hook, and I feel like Rolly know that. You understand what I'm saying? Like Rolly was aware of that, and he got reminded when he knocked him down. Once Rolly knocked him down, he came in to try to finish him off, which was smart. And Ryan snuck in. I don't know if a lot of people saw, but Ryan snuck in the left hook that hit Rolly clean on the head, and Rolly took it well. But at the same time, it's like, why put myself in harm's way to lose? Like if I could easily act like I'm gonna charge him, and just win with a double jab, I'm gonna win with a double jab. You can't knock a crazy fighter for being smart tonight. You know what I'm saying? So like, if you ask me, I feel like he played it smart. Ryan wasn't able to adjust. But it's just how we look at these fighters. Like, dang, we ain't expect. We everybody thought Rolly was gonna come out like how he came out with Tank. Nah, he came out more patient. He learned. He's being more reserved, using his jabs. He knew how to keep Ryan from throwing by giving him all these different looks, and he won. Like that's what it was. And Ryan just couldn't figure it out. Ryan also wasn't in the ring for a year, and you could tell it wasn't clicking for him. Like nothing was clicking. He started off with a solid jab that was giving Rolly problems, but he couldn't sustain it. He couldn't build off of it. Rolly just, he was able to capitalize off the knockdown and just cruise it throughout the whole fight.
Yeah,
I give it a if we speaking just fight wise, I give that fight a nice chess match. I'll say B plus. B plus is cool.
Okay. My only question, just about that, because I agree with everything you said, is that do you think Ryan was trained and prepared for a different type of Rolly? Because this was not the Rolly that everybody thought they were going to get. And the corner, do you blame the corner for not being, ready or prepared for another version of Rolly?
Nah, I don't blame the corner for it, because at the end of the day, the corner was telling him to do certain things. He was telling him, he was saying, like it was like the 5th round, 6th round. He was like, work off your jab. And then the next round we're gonna start throwing a hook. I never seen a hook, so I don't feel like that was I feel like that was great instructions, because the jab was landing. So you like, all right, we setting things up this round. But it's like you gotta use it. You gotta use it. He used it, but he was never able to build off of it. He was never able to capitalize off of it. So I just feel like that's just a loss within the team. Just fighter not being able to capitalize, whether that's training. You can't blame the coach, because at the end of the day, the fighter's in there fighting.
Yeah,
like that's a team loss at the end of the day. It's just that's how I rate it.
Real quick, let me shout out my
what you said. What you said right there was powerful. Oh, wait, my bad.
Let me shout out my guy Conor Loco. Thank you for the $5 super chat. Appreciate you, bro. My man Conor Loco TV. Go ahead, BVO.
Conor Loco, my guy. We supposed to be having him on sometime this week, man. Salute to my brother. But I appreciate what you said, Keith, because I think you really showing like why everybody like you so much, man. I see that, because you see how Tommy tried to throw the black man under the bus because it's Derek. Oh, now he can't coach. Now he don't know what he's doing.
I didn't say any of that, man. I
don't know
asked
what's
the question. Yeah, this is you see, he likes to stir up the pot, right? He's like, I don't want to keep you long. BVO, we're gonna go straight to like different topic, to the fights. But go ahead. But because I want you.
See, I'm black. I can't even talk, Keith. No, you my nigga. I can't even talk to my nigga. Keith, look how you do me, man.
We're gonna let
you how you do me. Yeah. I can't even talk. Now you got other stuff to do. But no, I was saying.
Nah, you're the worst, bro. I swear to God.
Well, and you see that because I'm black, I'm the worst. You see that, Keith? Wow, man.
Let's talk about the Ryan fight, the Ryan and Rolly fight, and then.
But what I would say about that fight that I like that you broke down was the fact that Ryan really was trying to do something that he probably shouldn't have, going right into that tough fight. What you said is very true. Being out a year, that's a long time. I mean, that's a long time, man, to be out the ring and come in there with Rolly. But I'll ask you this. Did you realize that Rolly could be this good with the proper training? Just from watching, outside watching him, did you think he could be this good?
Did I think he could be that good? To like, if I'm being honest, it's like Rolly. It's like this, right? However we say, Rolly got his own style, right? To a lot
Mm-hmm.
of fighters that work on the basics, that drill the basics to perfection, and really, you know, break down boxing in the smallest aspect. To those types of fighters, it's like, like, what is this guy doing? Like, that's not how you throw this punch, or like that's unorthodox. It's awkward, you know. But at the same time, if he master his style and he makes it work for him,
Mm-hmm.
hey, that's what great fighters is all about. Ali did it, moving around the ring, jabbing. No heavyweights was doing that. However, that's his style, and he made it work for him. Roy Jones did it. A lot of the things that he do, like a lot of coaches, they wouldn't tell their fighters to do it. However, that's his style. That's what made him, who he is. And same thing with Rolly. It's just like that's his style, and if he's able to master his style,
Mm-hmm.
then he could be as great as he want to be. Look at um Prince Nassim, like
Mm-hmm.
all of these fighters, Sean Porter.
Mm-hmm.
No, I don't feel like Sean Porter dad telling him like go in the fire, you know, keep going, keep going. I don't care if you get hit, but he understand how to be rugged and make his fighters, the people that he's fighting, uncomfortable. And that was his style. That was his way to win. So it's very unorthodox. It's hard to teach it, and when you fight like that, coaching is it's like you just gotta guide a fighter, and if you're able to do it, then it could work for you.
So when a guy is punching as hard as Rolly's punching, does that go into the equation? Because I think a lot of people are sleeping on the fact that he's punching. And when he hit Ryan, I seen like, his eyes like they're about to roll in the back of his head that first punch. And then when he hit him again, he went down. So I'm just wondering, did people kind of underestimate that power because he looks so bad, people forget that he really punching. What do you think about that? Did his power play into that equation?
Oh yeah, for sure. His power definitely play. It does make a huge factor, and I feel as though that's what any fighter. That's the same reason. You talking about power. I feel that's the same reason Rolly didn't run down on him. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? That's the reason
For
why he
sure.
kept the double jab. It's because
Yeah.
of Ryan power. And so Rolly power forced Ryan to shut up, and Ryan power forced Rolly to never commit, which was what he wanted him to do. He wanted him to commit so he could throw his shots off. But that's how I see it.
When you see those two guys up there, does that tell you like, one day I'm gonna be able to come home and be on a big stage like that? Because those guys wasn't that much older than you, man. What you think about seeing those guys around your age on that big stage like that?
For sure. I definitely feel like that's reachable, and that's the reason why I'm in the sport. Because I seen myself on the big stage when I was a younger kid. I envisioned myself. I felt like that was more than reasonable. Goals and aspirations. For me. So that's why I came into the sport. Reason why I'm in it now.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So look, guys, we're gonna go one more fight, and after that, we're gonna introduce something called the name game, where we're gonna name a couple fighters, and then you're gonna name a couple fighters, and then we're just gonna briefly talk about each person that we name. So, but before that, one more fight I want to go over, kind of a stinker, Canelo and Skull. Canelo got some skull last night. So, what did you think about that
Oh,
fight last
that was nuts. Did you hear that, Keith? Wow, this guy is a fruit, man.
night?
Wow, that boy's sweet, man. Hey, don't let him stand next to you when y'all take a picture next time, man.
Nah.
That brother's sweet, man.
Go ahead, Keith. What you thought?
I saw the fight. I didn't see the full fight. I really saw the later rounds. I heard a lot of people saying Skull, he was like moving around the ring a lot,
Mhm.
not really committing. I feel as though I don't like that. Like people that's just happy to be there,
Yeah,
like that's I don't like that because like people like Terrence Crawford where they do everything in their power. Like I'm pretty sure once he is in that position and he across from Canelo, he's not just gonna be happy just to be there. You know, he's actually, you know, he want to win, and not only win but win convincingly. You know,
Yeah.
you got a lot of people that's just happy with just being in the ring with certain fighters because who they are. But like, you know, I'm not like I was never cut from that type of cloth. So like once I started seeing that, I wasn't even watching it honestly.
For me, I was disappointed in both fighters. I thought Canelo could have done more to try to cut off the ring and maybe sell out a little bit. He was the bigger puncher in the fight, and then he didn't really show it by I thought he could have cut off the ring a little bit better and maybe do something. Skull was moving a lot. I would have liked Skull to maybe throw some more jabs to make it look like he was trying more. He didn't really do that. He had some moments in the fight where he landed a couple here and there, but I was okay with the decision. But it's like you said, it just looked like he was happy to be there.
Yeah. That fight right there was by far the worst fight of the weekend. I'm always from the era of you got to beat the champion in order to become the champion, and it didn't look like he was trying to beat him. It looked like he was just trying to survive. And a lot of people, I saw a couple of people who saying that, he was doing Jermell Charlo. No, Jermell Charlo fought the first half of that fight. It was when he got knocked down. He said, "Oh no, I'm not gonna get knocked out." But even with Jermell Charlo, like I said, he fought the first half of the fight. Even Jaime Munguia fought that fight and he got dropped and he still kept fighting. Berlanga, he fought. Now he moved a lot, but he was fighting. So I'm like, okay. Everybody kept saying, I got Skull winning. I'm like, he's not winning this fight. You got to beat the champion. Canelo Alvarez is the big money guy. He's the man that got the name. He's the man that got all the money behind him. You're not winning no fight against Canelo Alvarez fighting like that. They're going to say Canelo Alvarez pressing the action. This man was just running. He wasn't trying to land anything. He was running. They're going to give it to Canelo. So it was just a boring fight. It was. I was glad that I didn't pay for it because I would have been pissed.
Well, so
check this out, Keith. This brother stole the fight and complaining about it. So what I'm gonna tell you is this, Keith. When you become pound for pound, man, just remember, nothing you do is ever good enough. Just remember that. Nothing Canelo did was wrong. All he did, the dude was scared to death. What else could he do? You see how the fans blame him? So just always remember when you hit where you want to go, that hey, these fans ain't shit, and they don't give a damn. What you do is never good enough, and they'll steal your fight. That's the part that give me, and they'll steal your fighting completely, Keith. So just remember that. You heard that from your dear brother BVO early on. When you pound for pound, be like my man Brad, man. Fuck them fans, man, because they know you can do. You just see how he just tore Canelo apart. What else could Canelo have done?
I didn't say nothing about Canelo.
What else could Canelo have done? The man was in there line dancing.
We talked about
William
Skull.
Did you see that man in there line dancing like that?
No,
I couldn't believe he was running from Canelo like that.
We blame William Skull. We didn't blame Canelo. What are you talking about? You got selective hearing?
I think he got mad and he got mad because you said you didn't pay for the fight.
He didn't pay for the fight. He just not admitting it. He didn't pay for the fight.
Hey, I was asleep. I didn't see that fight. I was asleep. I didn't see the fight.
Well, how can you say anything? How could you make a comment if you didn't see the fight?
I watched it on the highlights.
Oh my God, I can't. Listen, we're gonna move along to the name game because I don't want to keep too long. We're gonna do the name game here. So I'm gonna give you a name, Keith, and then you'll say what you know about him or any stories you have if you've met them or any experiences, and then you'll give us a name and then we'll talk about them. So you'll go first. I'm gonna go with Amanda Serrano.
She cool. I've met her before, sparred with her before, I trained alongside of her. She's a great person for the sport of boxing and for women's rights and women's women's role in the athletic world. She's about equality for the women, and I support her.
Okay. Now you give us a name.
Eric Morales.
Eric Morales. I'll start off, guys. 52-9. I did some homework on him because I just did something on him on the radio. 52-9, 36 KOs. More famous for the two trilogies he had with one with Marcos Antonio Barrera, in which they had 3 wars 2 of those 3 fights were Fight of the Year. The first fight, they gave it to Eric Morales at super bantamweight. A lot of people thought Marcos Antonio Barrera won. I thought Marcos won the first fight. They gave it to Eric. The second fight was kind of like the opposite. They fought at they fought at featherweight in the second fight. And in the second fight, they gave the decision to Marcos Antonio Barrera, but a lot of people thought, including myself, thought Eric Morales won. And then the third fight was Fight of the Year. That was a close fight. It really not controversial. Marcos Antonio Barrera defeated him. And then he was the guy that beat Manny Pacquiao, right? Unanimous decision. He pretty much outclassed Manny for like 9 out of the 12 rounds. And then in the 12th round, he boxed all the way to the 12th round. The 12th round, he just slugged it out with him, which was crazy. You know, he risked losing that fight. And then eventually he fought Manny 2 more times, and Manny stopped him in the 10th in the second fight. And in the third fight, he got destroyed like in 4. So Eric Morales of Tijuana, Mexico, became world champion, 21 years old. 4 guys like Kevin Kelly, Tapia, I said Barrera. I know I'm missing a couple of names, but one of the best Mexican fighters there was.
Yeah, Eric Morales for me was one of my favorite Mexican fighters. He like Thomas said, he's known for the 2 trilogies that he was in. I think the Barrera trilogy was probably one of the best trilogies in boxing. It was a lot of animosity between the 2 guys. And he always came to fight. You never got a boring fight with Eric Morales. It was always a fight with him. So I mean, he's definitely a Hall of Famer, and you can't say anything bad about Eric Morales as far as a boxer. One of my favorite Mexican fighters.
Okay. I don't know if BBO want to say anything about Eric Morales. If not, we'll continue.
Yeah, he was all right, but I mean, he wasn't nobody I would write home about. That's just me.
BVO the hater, of course. And BVO, who's actually part Mexican, I learned, actually not saying anything about Eric Morales is kind of blasphemy. But go ahead. I got a name, Ricardo Lopez.
Ricardo Lopez, intelligent, dedicated, smart fighter. Feel like he was known for his humbleness, his skills in the ring, and just like his focus, his focus in and out of the ring.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Now your turn.
Danny Garcia.
You guys want to go
Puerto
first?
Ricans only?
No, we're not doing only Puerto Ricans. This guy is unbelievable.
I go first with Danny. A great 140-pound fighter. The guy always came to fight. Great counter puncher. The only problem with Danny that I had with him, he never won the biggest challenges in his career with Keith Thurman, Earl Spence, and Sean Porter. And I wish we would have got that fight with him and him and Terrence Crawford. But the man invested his money in a great way. He's giving back to the sport by being his own promoter now and promoting young fighters to the sport. So I mean, Danny Garcia is a great fighter that a lot of young guys can follow after. Far as what can you do once the sport is over, because he's still giving back to the sport even though he's not fighting anymore.
All right.
I would say.
Oh, go ahead.
I would say Danny was a good fighter. I mean, he could dress his ass off, but as far as when it came to fighting somebody who really was on his level, he really struggled. But I mean, when he lost to Keith Thurman, people forget he lost by 1 point. So I mean, the only thing about Danny Garcia was I felt like he didn't have the proper coaching to take him to that next level. That's kind of what hindered him, because he became only a great counterpuncher, where I feel like his talent said he could have been more.
Danny Garcia, for me, pretty much what both these guys just said. Only thing is, I feel like Danny Garcia is one of my favorites because he won me a lot of money in the Amir Khan fight. He was a 4-1 underdog, and I put good money on him. And I told everybody at the barbershop at that time, put money on Danny Garcia. He's going to stop Amir Khan, and he was the underdog. And they rattled his skin in the press conference. I think his father kind of like said some craziness about him, and I won about a little bit over $800 on that fight because he was like a 4-1 underdog. So, and other people got paid too. So Danny Garcia, and in the Keith Thurman fight, I always told myself that if that was a 15-rounder, I think Danny Garcia would have stopped Keith Thurman because he won those last 2 rounds, and Keith Thurman looked like he was ready to go out. So that's the 2 things I remember most about Danny Garcia. But a heck of a fighter, and one of my favorites because he made me good money. So I got one last fighter. Okay, we're gonna make BVO happy. Stephen Fulton.
Cool boy. I messed with Cool boy. I feel like he's a great fighter. Like just hearing his story, stuff he come like like his background, where he come from, his upbringing and seeing like where he at, being able to spar with him. It's crazy, like a lot of people they really make it out of nothing. I feel like he's one of those people, salute the Cool boy for that for sure.
Okay. And then one last one for us.
Teofimo.
Teofimo, 22-1. He's about 27 years old. BVO's favorite fighter. He doesn't like him anymore, but I know that's still his favorite fighter. WBO super lightweight champion. A very athletic fighter. Decent fighter in the ring, but a real jerk outside the ring. I had the chance to speak to him one time, and I kind of questioned him and his antics. And then I kind of gave him props at the same time, saying that, you know what, at least you be coming to the fights and you tell them straight up, you come to the fights and you make all these comments and you show up. It's not like you're hiding. And then he had the audacity to tell me that the only reason why I do that is because they know they can't do nothing to me. And like, I felt like he was trying to punk me at the same time because he was like, they know if anything happens to me, we're going to, and then he did like this, like they would be eliminated. So I think he's a real piece of work, but that's just me with Teo.
Yeah, Teo. I mean, we got to talk about him twice because there's 2 sides to Teo. You got Teo that's focused, and then you got Teo who wants to be a jerk. The focused Teo, great fighter inside the ring, can probably compete with anybody in his weight class when he's focused. The other side of Teo is what I believe cost him a lot of money fights. Him not being focused, him always wanting to feel like he is entitled to certain things. I think Teo is one of those guys. If he doesn't get his head on straight, he's gonna regret the decisions that he made in his career, because Teo can be, if he's focused and he take this game seriously, he can be one of those guys that we would say, you know what, he's one of those next level fighters. But it's just, you don't know what you're going to get with Teo. 1 minute he focused, the next minute he's not there. So I think he's a good talent, but I think he's a waste of talent as well.
BVO, you want to talk about your
what I was. There we go, man. You talking crazy. My favorite fighter is Keith Colon. These dudes. But what I would say, when you look at Teo, he's a lot like Hector Camacho. Can really, really rise to the occasion, or he can just lay in the street. It's just the duality of his talent is amazing. 1 minute he could just be beating the life out of Lomachenko, one of the greatest lightweights we ever seen, go on there and beat undefeated, undisputed Josh Taylor like it's nothing. And then look, normal versus Jermaine Ortiz. So, I mean, he just is our new version of Hector Camacho, where he really got to figure out who he wants to be, a Hall of Famer, or does he wants to be a racist clown?
You want to add to that, Keith?
Nah, I mean, Teo is Teo. I feel as though I feel like what hindered Teo, and I feel like a lot of young fighters should look at is his, eagerness to get in the ring with the greats so early. That's why he is where he is now. He fought a lot of top fighters early on in his career, but as a result, he never got the money for it. That's why he always complained about the money aspect. He always complained about, you know, who Devin Ford, who Ryan Ford, and these guys. But at the end of the day, he took a risk on early. He should have got the money for it that he deserved. However, he did it. You know, legacy wise, his legacy looked great. But as you could tell, he's not happy financially with where he's at. You know, and it's sad to say, but I feel like that's like a note that every young fighter should take. Is like, don't just be eager to jump in there with the top guys because, you know, the fans want it and you know you could beat them. It's like if you don't respect the game and you don't take your steps and, you know, really climb up the ranks, you're not going to get compensated for it when it matters the most. You know, like, that's what people don't understand.
That's very well said, man. That was good. That was like the nice way of saying things about T. It was. But it was well said. That's why. Right. But that's why we do this. That's why I want to do it with a professional, because professionals, right? Professional fighters or whoever they are, they're more respectful. You know what I'm saying? We're as fans, we may say and slip and say a few dumb things like BVO. You know what I'm saying? But that's why we do this.
Oh, like BVO, you're this key. Look at this guy, man. You know, hey, you called me nigga the other day, man.
Come on, BVO, stop it. He's
with the ER on it. With the ER on it.
Yo, Keith, we're gonna try to get BVO out there to see a fight too, and we're gonna have a good time. He's a funny guy, as you can see. But Keith, man,
wow, he's some funny guy like a clown. You this guy, man?
Hey, you this guy. Before we get you up out of here, I gotta know, where can I get one of those sweatshirts you got?
Which one?
The one you got on right now.
Yeah, this one
right here.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, this right here is like 101. But we coming out. we definitely coming out. We definitely coming out with some merch. It's just it got to be like right time and make sense. You know, first time came out with a lot of merch.
Yeah.
You know, and you know how it is. You know, everybody like, oh yeah, I want one, but they never end up getting it. So like, you know, now when we make the merch, it's really just be for like the team, and we just have a little extra on the side. But this I feel like this merch, I'm gonna make a little bit extra ones on the side for the people that's going, you know, because I feel like now, you know, I'm 5-0, people see me more, they probably, you know, they want, you know, so every
fight you got a different color. I mean, you got the best ring attire in the game right now. Like every fight is different, you know, color coordinated and everything. Like every single fight, I'm like, yo, where I get this hoodie, where I get this hat. You know what I'm saying? So before you get BVO or D Free a hat, I got to go first. So even though I got a shirt already, I'm not gonna lie, I already got a shirt. So, but definitely, Keith, man, I appreciate you coming on with us, man. This was dope for the first episode of, you know, the conversations, ring talk with a professional. This was dope. We're gonna do some more of these, and I'm gonna have more fighters on here as well. Also, I'll probably see you at the least. I'll probably see you June 21st at Muad's fight.
Yeah, for sure. We'll be in the building for sure.
All right, definitely. But anything you want to let people know where they can find you real quick?
Yeah, you can follow me on Instagram at official Keith Cologne and on YouTube at Keith Tsunami Cologne. I appreciate y'all for having me.
I appreciate you, Keith. Definitely, man. This was dope. Thank you, Keith. We'll talk.
All right, my guy.
All right. Yeah, there you have it. Keith Cologne, first episode of Ring Talk with a professional. I thought that was dope. We're gonna do more of these. BVR, I like how you came in. So now you have to come on every time we do these. So definitely what we want to do is every time we do one of these, it's going to be with a professional, where it's going to be a professional fighter, a manager, trainer, even cut men, because I'm going to get Stitch to do these as well. You know, and even a professional content creator. Yeah, we're going to count content creators as professionals as well. So, and we're just going to talk boxing. We're going to shoot and talk about the recent events of boxing, and then we'll do the name game. I think that's going to be our new thing. That's the new show here in Sports Talk Network. And I appreciate you guys coming up. Any last thoughts? Starting with you, D Free.
No, I mean, yeah, we definitely going to do more of these, and we will be definitely more in tune with our audience by putting out more live streams. I got Thomas back off the vacation, so we're gonna be putting out more live streams together. But yeah, great interview. I mean, great talking with Keith Cologne. He's one of those level-headed young fighters that got his head on straight. and he's still in school. He's about to graduate, so he knows what he want to do, and he got a backup plan just in case things don't go the way he expected to go.
Yeah, very intelligent guy. Got his well, he's about to get his bachelor in Rutgers University. That's one of the top universities in the country. I mean, great kid. I'm not just saying this because I go to his fights and we have a good relationship, but no, he's a great kid, as you've seen on our show about 5 or 6 times he's been here, and I can't say anything bad about him. So maybe BVO can, but he is BVO's favorite fighter, right?
But I'll say this, man. Shout out to Puerto Rican Tommy. You got some glaze on your lips, so wipe that glaze off your mouth, man, when you start talking to me. But shout out to Keith, man. Keith, you know what? Keith was one of them young niggas, man, who really, make you excited to see, like, what? That's what it's all about, working hard and seeing the next generation really take education as well as their professional life serious. I'm not going to disrespect him and call him a kid because I think he's a great young man. And I just think it's so good to see a young man really working hard. He's not somewhere knocking folks over, nothing like that. He's actually doing the work that you would want to see somebody do, going to school where you don't have to. Because to be honest with you, the reason we get into combat sports is because we're not good in school. So to see the brother take school so serious, it means a lot. And that means, to me, he's somebody that you can say may be a role model one day. But before we get out of here, man, I want to say, man, free Larry Hoover, man, free the old man, bring him home. And I just think what we're doing at the Sports Talk Network is different. We're not here to, kiss no tail, make nobody feel a certain way. We all know the future of boxing is Emiliano Vargas and Keith Colon. We know that. So we ain't got to keep talking about it. But
that's what I forgot to do. After the name game, I was going to ask him. I was going to let you ask him what he felt about Emiliano, because I think I'm going to add that to this too. That's going to be one of the questions. So we're going to do
I wouldn't do that because
no.
I wouldn't let him do that.
BVO ask the fighter, the professional, what they think of Emiliano, and then BVO is going to tell them what he thinks of Emiliano, so that they could kind of have a discussion about it. Because BVO, you think Emiliano is like the best thing since sliced bread?
No, that's not true. I said he's the best since Oscar De La Hoya.
Matter of fact, we're gonna have Emiliano on here. I'm talking to him on his IG. I'm still working on getting him on here, but that's one of the interviews that we're trying to get on here. So BVO be able to get the chance to talk to his childhood star.
Yeah.
Well, we know that D Free is I am mumble sauce, man.
Yeah, that's why when we have Emiliano on, right? BVO, make sure your camera stays off like it is now, because we don't want to see the glazing in your mouth.
Hold on. We know how you get down, man. We just heard you talking crazy about somebody getting scarred up. So I don't want to hear nothing you talking about, man. You a cupcake. We already know that about you now. We know that Tommy from the Bronx is a cupcake, man. That brother said somebody got scarred up.
You're the worst. You're
nasty work.
The worst.
Hey, Free, you heard him say it about somebody getting scarred up.
That was a joke, man, because
Yikes. I would never say a man was getting scarred up by another man. Yikes, man. That's all I can say. Hey, my nigga Dr. Mark heard you, and my nigga Josh heard you, man. You're sick. You're sick dude, man.
Yo, Ernest, and BVO, once he starts, he can't finish. So I got to get off this live. I appreciate everybody in the building. Guys, and Ernest just reminded me, just by being here and by seeing him tonight at about 8:00 on Skywalker's channel. I believe he's got a great interview with a good fighter. I'm not going to say who the fighter is, but if you guys are not subscribed to Skywalker TV, go check him out. He's got a good interview tonight. I think Ernest will be on there as well. So definitely, as far as the Sports Talk Network is concerned, I support my brothers on here, but I do have some other brothers out here outside Sports Talk. Skywalker's got a great interview lined up tonight. So just want to
and don't forget the weekend show with Dub and BVO. We're gonna break down your whole weekend, man. Let you know how it went. Make sure you check in tonight at I believe we come on at 9:30. We're gonna be on tonight.
All right, real quick before we go, we got some plans for the supporters of Sports Talk Network. So we got a meeting at 4:30 today, and we're gonna talk those plans that we have we'll have something in the work for all of the supporters of Sports Talk Network. Y'all can get involved, and I think it'll be beneficial to everybody. So we should be able to break the news probably next week. We'll be able to break the news on Monday.
Bet. All right, guys. I appreciate you guys as well. Everybody that came through today in the chat, appreciate you guys. Pass on the video to other people. Share the video. We're gonna do more of these. I'm telling you, it's gonna be it's a new series I'm starting. It's a little corny name right now until I could come up with a new name. This is episode 1. Ring Talk with a Professional, just straight and simple. So, we're gonna have somebody professionally on, right? So we got professional content creators like BVO, but yeah. So guys, appreciate you guys. Hope you guys have a good rest of your Sunday, and we'll talk to you guys soon. Take care, guys.
Peace.